IVM.
Welcome to All Things Policy, a daily podcast supported by Pragati, a flagship media initiative of the Takshashila Institution. We're a bunch of policy nerds based in Bengaluru, and we like to bring a fresh perspective to Indian affairs and an Indian perspective to global affairs. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and join us for today's chat.
Hello and welcome to another episode of All Things Policy. My name is Sudisha and I am a junior research scholar at the Takshashila Institution. I also have with me Sridhar, who is the project lead at the 20 Million Jobs Project. Sridhar and I together, along with Anu, who's not on the podcast, we research ideas on how India can produce 20 million jobs per year in order to reduce the unemployment rate in India. In the 20 Million Jobs Project, we think of emigration as one of the potential solutions to India's unemployment problem. In 2020, net migration rate for India was 7.3 migrants per thousand population. India also had the largest diaspora population in the world, with 18 million people from the country living outside their homeland in 2020. Despite these stats, emigration still continues to be a risky route on some levels. Many workers in low-wage jobs have to rely on dangerous routes to emigrate and then also get stuck without social security in those target countries. We also have with us Avinash, who is the guest of this podcast. Avinash is General Manager of Overseas Recruitment at Karnataka Skill Development Corporation. KSDC is a government of Karnataka institution engaged in designing, implementing, and monitoring skill development programs. Avinash has been involved in conducting several recruitment drives to send Indian candidates abroad. His team also works towards skill development of candidates for becoming qualified enough to be recruited abroad. Hi, Avinash and Sridhar. Welcome to our podcast.
Hello.
Thanks, Sudisha. So let me just kick this off. Avinash, I think, the government has not been talking about jobs for a long time, in the union government at least. It's been largely the opposition which has been talking about it. But I think there's lots of work which has been going on in the back end. And while all this is on, and we'd like to learn more about what's been happening. And in fact, recently, if you look at those Rozgar Melas, etc., the Prime Minister has been distributing appointment letters to job seekers, etc. While these may not have a significant impact on employment, I think it's an important signaling effect that, yes, jobs are important, and we in the government, states, and union, etc., we're all doing something about it, and people should know that we are working on this subject. I think that's important. And the developed world, I was talking to Avinash a little earlier, and I think one of the things that we talked about was the developed world is really aging, and life expectancy has been rising, and birth rates are falling there. But India has a different problem. 18 million Indians sort of turn 18 every year, and with over 100 million Indians probably being surplus in the agricultural sector, 20 million Indians will need jobs each year. Right. So that's what we have been, and that's why Sudisha, Anu, and I have been working on this project at Takshashila, giving it a lot of importance in terms of how can we create more jobs. In contrast to this 20 million which is needed, India creates less than 2 million jobs a year. Yeah, I mean, there could be various statistics which talk about different numbers, but I think the range is anywhere between a few 100,000 to 3-4 million jobs a year being created, depending on which year you're looking at. So can you tell us, Avinash, welcome to this podcast, and we're very fortunate to have you with us today. And can you tell us about what KSDC is doing and highlight some of your initiatives with respect to immigration? And also, I'm curious, what is the relationship between KSDC and NSDC? And maybe you can just sort of educate us. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Sridhar and Sudisha, thank you for inviting me on this podcast. So to start with, the Karnataka Skill Development Corporation is a government organization in the state of Karnataka in India. So it's established with the aim of enhancing the employability of the youth in the state to provide them with skill development. So this is a fully owned, 100% owned government organization. It's a skill development corporation established in the year 2008. So the primary objectives of the skill development would be identification of the skill gaps. So the KSDC identifies the skill gaps in the industries, various industries and sectors within Karnataka, which actually helps in aligning the development programs with the needs of the industry. So you raised a point about the unemployment statistics, which you mentioned, which I'm not aware of the statistics in India, honestly, because I'm primarily focusing on Karnataka. So Karnataka is actually, the unemployment rate is actually lesser than the other states, if I have to say, maybe roughly around 2.4 to 7% unemployment rate. But the skill development initiative is what we are doing. The corporation, I mean, when I say corporation, the KSDC. I'll come to the point of what is the difference between KSDC and SC in the end of this session. So the corporation design and implement skill development programs to address the identified gaps. So these programs are focused on employability of the youth and enhancing the skill needs. So it is not only training and just putting it to the market, but whatever the future. So if you ask is identify the skill gaps, what is the future? If future is the drone is the future, we will try to train them in the drone technology, the future skills. For that we collaborate with the stakeholders. The KSDC collaborates with various stakeholders such as government departments, industries, training providers, educational institutions to ensure effective implementation of the departmental and development initiatives. So that's our primary focus. So also we promote, and the skill development corporation is a part of the Department of Skill Development, Entrepreneurship, and Livelihood as well. That should be the parent department. We are a corporation, but the department is SDEL. So in this, we have the entrepreneurship development as well. So it's not only providing jobs in a company or organization, but also we promote entrepreneurship by providing support and guidance to aspiring entrepreneurs in the state, in the Karnataka. So this includes facilitating to access to finance, mentoring, and also to other resources. So, and recently we started this industry linkage sale where industry partnerships, which happens, where we go talk to the industries, where what is the industry needs, what is the deficit of supply they have, then identify that and try to maximize the awareness for the gaps. And we will allow the industry to train, take candidates from us to their industries. It's like on the job training. It's not like we prepare a bunch of students trained and leave it to the market and go job. Instead, the industry itself comes to us, trains the candidates and takes them back to the company. So the employment is 100%. So industry will take what they need. And the overall training and the short-term courses which KSDC does. But we started this Emigration, which is today's topic.
Yeah.
So KSDC started this framework called International Migration Center Karnataka. So when it comes to emigration, we are the authorized state government agency from the Ministry of External Affairs, registered in the year 2019. So I'll go more into that.
Sure.
And with KSDC, difference between KSDC and NSDC is KSDC is a fully owned organization which the government is fully funded organization. But the NSDC works on a different platform. It comes under directly under the MSD, and they have their own flagship programs like PMKVY, DDU, GKY, many other programs which they do. But KSDC has its own programs for the state, like Chief Minister's Kaushalya Karnataka Yojana and all. So the difference is between the functioning of the offices and the ownership. So there we have a 51-49 partnership model in NSDC, as far as I know, where the 49 would be the government and 51 would be the private industry players taking the stake. But in KSDC, it's completely government owned.
So do you also work with programs of the NSDC? I mean, do you work with the NSDC to ensure that what you're doing is in line with them, or do you work completely independent of NSDC in terms of your actions?
Whatever the courses we provide training would be from the NSQF framework itself, NSQF, National School Qualification Framework. So we work on their programs like PMKY, DDU, GKY, everything. Whatever NSDC said, we also implement. Apart from that, we have our own schemes.
Okay.
See,
so for instance, when we are talking...
It was not a part of NSDC. It was not a part of NSDC. We did it. CMKKY is not a part of NSDC. We did it. The state did it.
Yeah.
So we try to create our own schemes to provide employment and skilling to the youth of the state.
Very nice. In fact, I was reading about NSDC and signing a lot of MOUs with countries, with multiple countries on skilling and jobs, etc. And you're also talking about emigration of skilled people to those countries. Are we talking about the same countries, or do you have your own set of countries to which you are sort of sending people?
So I think I should highlight the initiatives with respect to emigration, what KSDC has done now. So in 2019, when the government felt that there is a need of a nodal agency for the people who are traveling abroad, this KSDC was empaneled as a state government recruitment agency with the government of Karnataka. in the skill development, and we got registered with the Ministry of External Affairs as a state government agency with a license for 5 years. Then what happened is the primary objective was to have a safe, humane migration process for the people of Karnataka to provide employment pathway. So this doesn't happen in NSDC. NSDC is a different. Now NSDC has started something, NSDC International, which you pointed out, signing MOUs. So NSDCI is starting working with various employers and bringing demand and sharing it to the state government and private agencies and asking to provide jobs or give mobilization of candidates. But what KSDC has done is the initiative of this International Migration Center Karnataka framework is something unique because we are the only state in the country to have the migration facilitating architecture. It means in Karnataka, till last year, we had 30 districts and 1 district has been added. We have set up on a pilot basis of 8 migration regional centers, migration information centers. And we have identified the migration pockets in Karnataka, where huge blue-collar workers are actually traveling to the ECR countries, or I should say Gulf countries. So this is the only state KSDC has started a migration facilitator architecture where we have deputed our skill development officers as the nodal officers in the respective districts. Apart from this, we have started a pre-departure orientation training center. And Karnataka has only one pre-departure orientation center training, that's our KSDC. Very shortly, we'll be having 4 more pre-departure orientation or PDOT centers in Karnataka that would be primarily located in Mangalore, Belagavi, Gulbarga and Hubli. If you see these 4 places, what I said, all have air connectivity. Point number 1. Second, all are specific migration pocket areas and all are related to the borders of the state to some level. And some have ports, some have airports. Belagavi is connected to Mumbai, close to Goa. And Mangalore is a big port where most of the border people come to Mangalore and we have most of the flights to Kuwait. And this is not, we did not take the decision of putting this PDOT. What this PDOT does, I myself is a master trainer for the Ministry of External Affairs, been trained and tested. We have a team of 20-30 people who have been trained. This PDOT is a very unique course where any candidate going abroad can register with us and come to our center to take the pre-departure. We will talk about, train about, educate them about the laws of the country, of the destination country, assuming we have sent 600 to 700 housemates till date. So we will train them what to do in Kuwait, what not to do in Kuwait. So we will tell about the labor laws to them. So KSDC is actually going deep into the candidates' safety and welfare because that's our primary objective. Because we said safe, humane migration process. Maybe if I have to say, when my mother was going for the airport first time, when she's going alone, she did not know what is a terminal, honestly. So I had to guide her. You go this like this. So we take care of every details. We have a migration toolkit which we give to the candidate in local language, Kannada and English. We show them the signs in the airport because the domestic worker going for Kuwait at a salary of 32, 35,000 may not know anything. She's coming a remotest. Maybe my housemate in working my house. But tomorrow future she may go to abroad. So we have already sent them 600 to 700 housemates from 5,000 income. Today they're earning 35,000 income. Imagine remittances coming back to our state and the safety. And one unique thing about this is only state government agencies can send domestic workers abroad.
Right.
No private agents in India can send this. So we have, KSDC has brought on a lot of illegal human trafficking, which was happening. I do not have the numbers, but if I have to say 600 plus we have sent, 600 did not go through any other illegal channels. So they went through us. So we have provided immigration clearance. So we are the department who accept the applications for immigration clearance. We counsel them. If the candidate is going through us, we provide the immigration clearance support. We provide the Pravasiya Bharatiya Bima Yojana, which is 10 lakhs insurance free of cost. We provide them with the police clearance certificate for the background check. We assist them to create the passports. We educate them about their families. If they're going from here, what would happen there? So I'm just briefing about the domestic movement. Why? Because I think this is a very important topic in this podcast. When you said emigration, most of the people who do not have passed the 10th standard and who's going for jobs, their passport will have a sign called ECR category.
Correct.
And these are the categories who has to come to the state government or any registered private agency to apply for the immigration clearance. where the respective protector of immigrants from the ministry will actually clear the application. So KSDC has played a pivotal role in uplifting women of almost getting jobs for 650 women, if I have to say. That's a huge number, and last 1 year, because we actively started working in last 1 year. So now we are focusing on Europe. Actually, you mentioned Australia, and actually we have started with Gulf. We started with the COVID mission project. We wanted to collaborate with many manpower agencies and the employers directly in the abroad. Due to COVID, we could not travel with the travel restrictions. Now we have enormous demands coming from various corners of the world. So the KSDC wants to provide placement assistance and provide skilled workers to these employers. So this is one very great initiative which KSDC has provided with respect to your question on the initiatives with respect to immigration.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Avinash. This was actually very impressive, and I came to know things that I wasn't aware of. Before I ask my next question, I think we should take a break and come back in a few minutes. Okay, we're back. So you mentioned about safety a bit, and I am a little curious about the social security these people get when they travel abroad, when they go abroad and start working there. What kind of salary and benefits that they are getting? I've seen some investigative reports, and those may be just anecdotes where Indian workers in low-wage jobs in different countries have to deposit their passports and they have trouble retrieving them or living a decent life in general. So, for example, Punjab farmers in Italy are not able to come back to India because their passports have been kept, right? So that's just one example. So how do you prevent that from happening? What kind of social security measures you are providing from India to those workers who have gone through KSDC?
It's a very, very big question. So this is the most important aspect when it comes to the government handling immigration, honestly. So the social security for the employees, see, this is where we have been trained at, where the ministry and we actually focus on security always. So whenever we are onboarding any employer, so I'll start with the employer first, then I'll come to the candidate's security. So whenever the KSDC is onboarding any employer, any foreign employer, because we do not know who they are, what they do. So we actually ask them to onboard with the portal called eMigrate. It's for everyone's reference, it's www.emigrate.gov.in. It's for the Ministry of External Affairs portal. So we ask the foreign employer to mandatorily register on this portal, to provide all his credentials, to provide all his documentation to the eMigrate, where the concerned authorities from the eMigrate will do the background verification and do what are the necessary documentation. I don't know what is how they do, but it's all system driven. So before we take any foreign employer, because safety is the one aspect which you mentioned. So after sending, I do not want any hiccups. So before sending only, we do the background check of the employer. So we register the employer in the eMigrate portal with the Ministry of External Affairs portal. The employer or the individual will provide all the documents on the portal. And then once he or she or the organization or the company is found fit to recruit Indian workers, will be provided a foreign employer ID. So only when they receive a foreign employer ID and comes to us, where we have a login as a recruitment agency with the eMigrate portal, then we both meet online. I mean, it's a ministry portal. It's very transparent and it's all system driven. There is no manual intervention. Everything is system driven in the eMigrate portal. So the first check of the safety is already done of the employer. So that is one. Second, when you asked about the question of what kind of salaries they are getting. So KSDC is actually it's just like 1 year old with the immigration thing which we started. We are promoting employment for domestic made till doctors. So we started with the Gulf recruitment. We did a COVID mission project. Now we have 650 housemates who have been domestic workers gone. Now just yesterday we concluded the Hungarian heavy truck trailer recruitment drive, which was a massive thing. Imagine a truck driver getting a salary of 1.4 lakhs in Hungary, with providing all the safety, air tickets, visa assistance, getting a medical insurance, getting a free accommodation in Hungary, and the employer coming from Hungary and giving. So it's a huge boost. Truck driver getting them 30,000-40,000, getting 1.4 lakhs is an immense break in his career. So this was just a start for us. And we are starting with domestic cooks who can go and Arabian cuisines in the houses of the sponsors in Kuwait. We have chefs demand coming with us. So all the salaries will be aligned to the minimum wage act of the destination country. So each country has a minimum wage, which we have a notification from the Ministry of External Affairs in their websites, in the respective Indian embassy websites. So we only take them if the salary is above the minimum wage act of that country. So that is our primary quality check, which I have to do. My team, myself, everyone has to do. And if by default the system is so clean that anyone uploading the demand, we call any vacancy as a demand letter to be provided to the ministry through us. But the system itself will not accept if salary is less than minimum wage. So it's beautifully driven. There is no to check it as well. Even if it is checked, the system is always calculating. Example, if I put a domestic worker, it says minimum wage for Kuwait is 120 Kuwaiti dinar, which is 32,000 Indian currency. He cannot go below that. The system will not allow. So we do not take any email communications. I said, ABC employer from so-and-so company sending me, I want these workers. No, we do not do that hanky-panky process. So we always go with the protocols, what the ministry has given, the guidelines, what has been issued. So Karnataka is more focused on quality and safety of the employees and also the welfare, also the repatriation. With the salaries, I can say minimum 30,000 is what we generally get some offers. And maximum, we have a doctor who has received an offer of 9.6 lakhs per month for a big hospital in Kuwait. So if you ask why you are sending doctors, the world needs it. So whatever the demands we get, we actually put it into the market, I mean to the public. We are the facilitators. We are not the employers. See, we are bridging the gap between the employee and the employer. So whoever comes to our platform, to the KSDC, overseas recruitment cell, we will do all the background verification of the employer. If there is any issues, we are there. Means we take the risk on our side saying that we check everything before you depart. So that's the most important. And you mentioned about some Punjab holding passports. We have clearly defined, the PDOT section clearly says no employer can hold the passports in their custody. So we always advise the candidates not to give passports. And I'll tell you, Sudisha, what happens is all this section, people who give their passports are the vulnerable, economically weaker sections, people who actually go on and living abroad. They do not know. There's no awareness actually. See, these people, 100%, I'll tell you, they wouldn't have gone to the PDOT sessions. The Karnataka is the only state to provide PDOT session in 5 Indian languages. Only state in India, as far as my knowledge. So we train in their language because end of the day, the safety is important. And it's a Q&A session. Until unless we find them, they do not understand the laws, we will definitely keep repeating that. We educate them only, we give the certificate to them. So important is they do not know their rights. People are not aware of their rights when they go abroad. So this is the important specific measures what we have kept in mind of educating, counseling, not only the candidate, but about also the family members. We will give the Indian embassy details of the respective country. We will give the phone numbers of our offices. We will give the phone numbers of the Indian embassy in the destination countries. There are open houses in Indian embassies happening. We will tell if you have any grievances. We have a portal called Madad, which means help. It's a toll-free number. It is open in many Indian 14 languages. They can call and raise a complaint, grievance, whoever has an issue. In case in future anyone comes to, or if you come across, please tell, just Google Madad. This is a toll-free number which comes. Just call them, I am in trouble, and MEA, and we are here. So it's very, very uniformed and very fast driven. And we get some queries on Twitter as well, saying that my passport is being held and I'm not getting salaries. And Mr. Sridhar, I think in COVID, we repatriated 32 Kannadigas who were stuck in Jeddah. Ministry of External Affairs actually, they played a pivotal role. They actually brought them back to Karnataka, and with the protector of immigrants, the then officer asked if Karnataka can play a role in this. KSDC was the front runner to bring them back. And you know what? All these 32 Kannadigas went through illegal agents. All went through illegal agents. They paid exorbitant amount to them. If he's getting 30,000 salary, he has paid lakhs of rupees to them to go to Europe. I don't know why people are so fascinated to pay money to agents when government is doing free of cost. They more rely on people Please go ahead.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think you're right. Exactly my thoughts. And I think it's also because of how desperate people can get, right? So when you don't have a job and you're really struggling and the income levels in India are not high enough and you get enamored, you know about a friend who's working somewhere earning 50,000 or whatever, and you think that maybe I can also go there and earn this and it'll change my life. I think they're all, like you said, helpless, really helpless people with very little family support and knowledge who do it. And it's great that you're doing this kind of work. I think it's important that more people get to know about it. I think that's important so that at least those people, it'll benefit a few. We should do some of these programs in other languages too. I mean, not just in English, but I think conduct some of these podcasts in more local languages. We do something called Pulyabazi, which is in other languages. So we do in other languages, but I think this one is in English. But definitely, I think we should try and do some of that. The other thing that I wanted to know, Avinash, is this is great stuff, right? I mean, you've just started doing this whole emigration thing in the last 1 year. You've started sending people out. You're talking about a few hundred people being sent, which is great. I think it's better than zero. I mean, any number is better than zero, right? I think that's how we have to look at it. And if you're doing something positive and do about it, that's great. The question I have is, what is your ambition? What are you thinking of? What is the kind of numbers that you're thinking in your head of the potential for emigration out of Karnataka? Do you see it as like are you thinking 10,000 people? Are you thinking 100,000 people? What is your vision?
You're asking me what's my target, to be precise. So
the target is immediate, yes, but I'm talking yeah, sure.
So here, I always get questions, why are you sending our Indians abroad? So many people ask, we have shortage of skilled workers, why you send people abroad? We get questions like this anywhere. Even Sudisha, when we had a chat, she was asking me, she had sent some questions like this. Even many people, when I interact, they said, why are you sending our doctors and nurses abroad? So, our intention is not to send our people abroad. The objective is to create a safe, humane migration process. I again repeat,
correct.
KSDC will create a platform. It's a framework where you can avail our services if you want to go abroad. It's a choice of the citizen. We are not forcing someone to go abroad. We are providing an opportunity. I am providing an opportunity to Kuwait. I'm giving examples of few countries. To Italy, Germany, Hungary, Europe, Slovakia, UK, everywhere. If you are interested. And if you want to pursue a career. Maybe a nurse who is going for the first year of graduation or the BSc, whatever it is. If we say, if you learn a foreign language, like Japanese or German or Italian, maybe after you complete, you'll have a future. You have an option.
Yeah.
So we have you, by the time you come out, no need to go to the market and see where should I go. It's like you're forecasting the demand and giving it to them. So that's our primary objective, to create a decision making for them. It's up to the choice of the citizen to work or be here where they want. But
no, absolutely, I agree completely with you that emigration is not a bad thing. And I think even from a perspective, even if it's a skill which is in short supply in India today, let's say doctors. India has fewer doctors than per 1,000 population than what we need. But that's fine. I think if we find that many of our doctors are getting jobs abroad, I'm sure we will set up more medical college. We will do all that and make sure that it happens. There might be a deficit in the short run. But I think if there's a demand for such things, we'll be able to create that educational channels in order to get people to go, right? I think it's a good option. I think India is in a unique place of having a large number of young people, and
Yes.
if we miss this opportunity, I think future generations will not forgive us for missing it.
Yeah.
So
If you
it's
see, many countries are looking at Indian skilled workforce. We can imagine how prioritized we are today. Imagine they're coming with huge numbers. They are ready to invest in India to take the skilled workers of India.
Yeah.
So that's why we said the vision of to make India the skill capital of the world. So, and to answer your question to the state, what's our numbers we are looking at it? So we are going on a very strategic approach. So we are going country-specific demands. So we do not want to get a demand and or vacancies like 100 vacancies. I want this and advertise and take the people. That's not our primary objective. If a country or a industry asks us, I have a scarcity of so and so. Maybe this can be applied for domestic, which I actually said we go to meet the industry partners. They come and say, I have a skill deficit. maybe in Bangalore or Mangalore or Bijapur in the industrial area, we would like to train them. The industry will give the option to train them and place them domestically. When it comes to immigration, we will ask the foreign employers to share the demand, share their curriculum to us. What is the testing standards, whether our certifications is agreed to their standards in those countries, and send them. So we haven't taken a big number because we are focusing on country specific demands, country desk. Example, now we are working on Europe. If Europe requires a truck driving, we are working on the truck driving. So we have actually like 10 categories, verticals of jobs like hospitality, truck drivers, and pediatricians, the paramedical staffs. We have carpenters, we have welders, we have masons. We are sending masons to Dubai. So we have all verticals. So if you can say with the current manpower and the time and the duration of this entire process, example, even I work 24 hours a day, it takes at least 2 months to send a candidate tentatively because a lot of documentation is there, which is not in our hands. A background check has to be done. Assuming if a candidate doesn't have a passport, he has to go and apply for a passport, which takes the fastest we get in 3 days, and maybe in 7-10 days we get a normal time. Then after the passport, he has to apply for a medical. Assuming he's selected, he gets a visa. Maybe if e-visa, it's an instant in a day. If it's a physical visa, it will take a week to come. And then he has to go and get his medical check done, which may take another 3-4 days. Then he has to get his documents attested in the embassy of that country in India. So there are multiple. It is not that a candidate gets a job today and flies. It's not that. Even for a highly educated person, also has to get his documents apostille. There are many other stakeholders also involved in the immigration process. So we are expecting maybe another 500 to maybe 1,000 people in the next 1 year to start. Because if you see Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh, they're almost in this industry for almost, I think, 3 to 4 decades. That's what when I learned about before coming here, they took little time to scale up their numbers. But within a year, we achieved more than 650. That's actually a very good number. With a very, very no knowledge of immigration, with understanding knowledge of immigration and best practices, understanding the labor market assessments of various countries in less than a year, and started working fully functional and making a very good progress with the candidature profiles. And the employers are very happy with the candidates what we give. Now we are expecting to double the numbers what we have done in this year. In case we get a very good, in case the supply is more with us and the demand comes, maybe this might go 3 times more than that. So that's it.
Yeah, because I think, the way it's good. I understand that some of these things are lengthy processes, and you have to ensure that the immigration happens in a safe and humane manner. So that was another aspect which is important. So you can't just chase numbers blindly. But I honestly believe that if we do the right things and we build the right frameworks and the right platform for doing something like this, there is a future in which you could see jobs for 500,000 people or more out of India, right? So I think
definitely,
on a regular basis, maybe something like that, the huge potential for all this.
See, once we create SOPs and we create the systems, we create clear pathway, we can clearly send more people actually. Even like Europe has a huge demand. If I have to see Poland, after the recent crisis, what's happening in the neighboring countries, there's a huge deficit of skilled workforce. The entire country is looking towards India today. Poland, they are telling, I want 2,000 drivers in next 1 week. Can you imagine?
Right.
This? 1 week, I need 2,000 drivers.
Right.
In 1 week, we cannot do 2,000 drivers, honestly, on paper.
Correct. So how are we going to do that? And my question really is, how are we going to ensure that we're building a good foundation for making this possible? That's good. But I'm sure you and many others in your department and your organization and in the government are thinking about how, because this is a big opportunity and you don't want to miss it. If somebody says, I want 2,000 drivers in the next 1 week, what can we do to make it happen, right? And I think...
I already had this. I already have this demand with me yesterday. So they asked me, I need X number of drivers, X number of HR executives, X number of welders, forklift operators. We need people. There's a new project coming up. We need people. I already have this demand request in my email where we are actually how to work on. We are completely asking the employer to give the complete curriculum what they need. Because there is a challenge. What's happening is most of the European countries are asking for English speaking skills. So assuming a welder or a mason speaking English. That's not easy again. So we are looking to work on the development of some skill sets of interpersonal skills, basic, and their English vocabulary. People, assuming the truck drivers demand, what we got was whoever had license before 2009 only can apply. This was the employer demand. If I have to say, almost 14 years back, and these drivers would be definitely around 40 to 50 years of age.
Correct.
And talking English 2009 before, I'm sure it was a little different that time in
Correct.
India. So there was a challenge for us. So we actually did well. We created a course for them. We brought everyone on board. So we are doing the English training and the basic European standards, track how the license has to be given, what is the taco card to be taken, everything. So for each demand, we are actually focusing and creating a turnaround time. We are taking time from the client and preparing our candidates who are interested in terms of upskilling of their knowledge on the destination countries and on the industry, what they are going to work for, and the PDOT, which we mentioned. And also, very importantly, we have some clients saying that they'll bring the machineries, example, warehouse. They wanted the Poland clients wanted to bring their own warehouse machines, keep it here, train them here, and then take them. So we are working on those models because we did not want to go this candidate there and he said, I do not know how to operate. Example, a guy driving a Volvo truck here and he's going and driving a cat or something crane there, definitely don't know how the console is. So these challenges we found out and said, we are asking the client to take a decision to select the candidate. Here, we will provide all the best fit candidates to the client after doing the pre-screening. But it's better the client select the right candidate because a lot of cost is involved and time is involved. So we are working on those models where as per the client requirement, is simple, giving a Rolls Royce as per the customer needs. Simple.
No, I think this is wonderful stuff, and I think this is long term. It's a good model. My only concern about this is this doesn't seem very scalable, right? This doesn't look like something which can. I mean, if we are working that closely, you need more organizations like yours. You have to create organization umbrellas. I mean, organizations like yours which can go out and do it, or your organization is to become that much bigger and be able to send out, I mean, meet the potential. Otherwise, we will do good work. But will it make a dent? My question really is, this is good. This will benefit those who are getting those jobs. It'll benefit those employers who are getting those people. But will it make a dent on the overall situation in our country? We're talking 20 million jobs. We're talking maybe 1 million jobs in Karnataka or something like that. Then how do we, I mean, what percentage of those jobs can be filled with something like this? This is something to think about. I'm not asking you to sort of answer, but I think it's just something worth sort of dealing with. Yeah.
See, it is like it's like two eyes for me. One is domestic, the other eye is international. Both is needed for me if I have to talk about it. So tomorrow, it's the choice of the citizen, end of the day. The rights which in a democratic country like India, he or she can work anywhere, live anywhere. It's a duty of the government to provide all the services. But the scalability of the development initiatives and the potential impact on unemployment depend on various factors of the resources allocated, like infrastructure resources, industry partnerships. You mentioned how can KSDC do on its own? We are actually in a very strategic approach when we did on a pilot basis and we are actually succeeded in this. So we will take support from the industries, organizations, training providers, and the foreign employers, which most of them are coming to train them in India and then take them abroad. And the reach and accessibility. End of the day, the unemployment rate is coming down. You mentioned any number better than zero is better. Any number more than zero is always better. Even if unemployment rate comes by 0.1% also, we have achieved something. So end of the day, providing unemployment, reducing unemployment is the primary objective. So this type of skill development initiatives will have wide reach. If you ask me, I would like to get this program access to the grassroots level of Karnataka. I want a person who's sitting in a village and don't know how to use a smartphone, only listening to radios. I have seen such people even today who come to our office, who don't use smartphones. And we have provided jobs to them abroad. Imagine the livelihood, what they've changed. A girl from Udupi, she was working in some medical college getting 15,000 salary. And we gave her in the COVID mission project 1,50,000 salary in Abu Dhabi. She cleared all her loans. She gave a video to the chief minister saying that, thanking the government and that saying that she has cleared her loans. She has started building a house for his family, stay working there. Yeah. The impact was huge. So I'm talking about not a doctor or a very, very high educated people, but even a normal nurse was getting 15,000 salary per month, getting 10 times more. The remittances coming back to the state and the country is humongous. So slowly we are working on how to scale up the numbers to match, and KSDC is fully potential to do that. And we have succeeded in the past as well. We have trained so many, almost 2.5 lakh people in the past. And we are working on how to place those people, finding out the skill gap. We have a Skill Connect portal. We are placing them domestically as well. So we are looking to provide a platform. It's like a framework on the overseas recruitment. So when it comes to emigration, from your podcast, from your channel, I'm telling you, anyone has any issues and repatriation, if anyone is charging exorbitant money, taking cheating, human trafficking, anything, if you come across, please reach out to our office. We are there to support our people. We will definitely talk to the concerned authorities in those countries and bring them back, upskill them, train them, counsel them, and send them back to a better place.
Thank you. This was wonderful. Sudisha, you have anything more to add?
No, I'm actually done with all my questions. He gave a very detailed answer for everything. Is there anything you want to ask?
I think I spoke a little more than what you wanted.
No, not at all, Avinash. This was a pleasure listening to you. And I'm hoping that our listeners also will enjoy this conversation and learn something from it. I'm personally very bullish about this idea of immigration as a potential channel for at least, a significant portion of our overall employment needs in our country. India is in a unique place in time to be able to do all this. And it's heartening to see the kind of effort that you and your organization and the government is doing. Wish you all the best and hope to stay in touch and learn more about how things are progressing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you liked our show, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can tune into them on the IVM Podcast app, ivmpodcast.com, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can also follow IVM on social media. The handle is @IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And hey, if you'd like to dive into Takshashila's research on technology, strategy, and economic affairs, check us out at our Twitter handle @TakshashilaINST or our website takshashila.org.in.